Hello everyone, Ped Gives Up here and thanks for tuning in. Now, today, for those who don't actually know, is the 14th of November 2020 and is the Bahrain round of the World Endurance Championship. That also means it's the final hurrah for the LMP1 category before the series moves to the hypercar regulations next year. And I'm going to miss the LMP1 cars. I think they look like rocket ships. The technology involved in them is quite impressive. And within that class alone, there have been so many iconic cars that have raced at Le Mans that have a pretty special place in my heart. I've decided to use that then as a bit of an opportunity to copycat a certain Lispy shed-dwelling YouTuber who did a similar video recently and see what is the fastest Le Mans car to go up the Goodwood hill climb. We're going to start in the 50s and work our way up to the present day with a few interesting cars in between. Now, like I mentioned, these are some of my favourite cars in all of racing, not just the LMP1 category, so I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a fun experiment. Our first car of the day is the Jaguar DType, the winner of the 1955, 56 and 57 Le Mans, powered by a 3.4 litre straight-six engine, delivering 250 brake horsepower. Now this thing looks so freaking cool, it's actually painful. There wasn't a lot of, obviously aerodynamic knowledge regarding cars wasn't very high, so they just took cues from the aircraft industry at the time. And of course, this being the 50s, there are some very stunning and unique designs. The sort of juxtaposition between the curved front and that shark fin at the back, I absolutely love the way this car looks. And yeah, let's go do the hill climb. On the start line then in our Jaguar DType, let's let that straight six rev. Drop the clutch and away we go. Big old set of 11s there. Gonna be 4 gears, this thing's gonna make the most fit, so we're gonna put it in first. Get close to the apex as we dare. Keep in second, be very soft on the throttle. Car loves to wander. You've got to brake super early if you want to have any control into the corner. Not getting as sideways as I have done in some of my practice runs. To be honest, I'm just trying to get to the end of the hill climb. Bit of an unnecessary shift there. Never mind. Big whack of oppo. Car's just moving so much. I really do enjoy driving cars like this. And that was a 57.9. I'm very surprised this car can actually do it can do the hill climb in under a minute. I know that people can go faster. I think that's my record in this car actually, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, that's the D-Type. We're going to move on to some insanely cool cars next. The Ford GT40 in, of course, the iconic Golf livery. Now this car won the Le Mans 24-hour 4 consecutive times from 1966 to 1969. 480 brake horsepower coming from a 4.9 litre V8 engine. This is one of those cars where even if you don't know the history behind it, you recognise this car. And I can't wait to drive it. Let's go. On the start finish line then, let's build the revs on that big old V8 behind us. Drop the clutch and away we go, leaving a big old set of 11s behind, just like in the Jag. Immediately back down to first for that corner. Taking a bit too much grass there. Take a little bit of grass there though, and then you can open it up along the straight. Car, same as the Jag, loves to wander in a straight line. You can brake a little bit later, but you've got to be on it. Tip the car into the corner. Get back on the gas. This car doesn't like going sideways as much as the Jag or any other car sort of before it. Very tricky to negotiate these corners in this car. There's so much power, the car's just waiting to spit you out. But nonetheless, that is a very exciting run up the hill. 50 seconds, so already 50 seconds up the hill, so 50 seconds and 420, blaze it. But yeah, this is a fun car to drive. It's a shame the hill climb isn't longer because, you know, some of these cars are just, they're so fun to drive. And but now we're going to move on to some more cool cars. So don't you worry, I know I've already said that, but there's plenty of more cool cars coming up. And let's move on to the next one. the Porsche 908 LH. Now, this doesn't have as much power as the GT40 that we just drove. In fact, in the 1968 race, it was fastest in qualifying, but it came second in the race, losing out to the GT40. This car has 350 brake horsepower, coming from a 3-litre flat 8 engine. You can see it just there. I mean, also this car, it looks so space age. I love the look of this car. And without further ado, let's take it up the hill climb. Got the revs up in that flat 8. Drop the clutch, and away we go. We're still going to take this corner in first. A lot of these sport cars, you take this corner in first. It's not great because sometimes the car's very twitchy on exit. This car, not so much though. Very manageable on corner exit, which I really enjoy. Not sure where we brake, so we're going to brake roughly where I braked in the GT40. That seems to be the one. I got a little bit squirrely there, but all these cars do. Right. This corner probably should have gone down to second. This corner we definitely will. Bit of a lock up there. No matter. Are we going to be faster? We are just faster. And I'm positive that, that we can go a hell of a lot faster than that. I did get the car sideways a little bit, which this car isn't really meant for. It feels like a car that's very much meant to be planted. They were experimenting at the time with early aerodynamics with this car, which will lead on to our next car. Now, the Porsche 917K, 600 horsepower coming from a flat 12 engine. But when you see this car and you don't think of Steve McQueen, then there's clearly something wrong with you. Much like the GT40, I feel like this is a car that even if you don't know the history of the sport or the event, you've definitely seen, or at least have some kind of knowledge of this car. I think this car looks absolutely stunning, and the way they've brought it to life in Assetto Corsa is marvellous, in a word. I can gush all day about a car like this, but I'm not going to. We're going to drive up the hill climb. Very interested to see how close it comes to the previous model, the 908. I'm sure this will beat it. In fact, I'm positive it will beat it, but still, this is only 2 years younger than the 908, so it's going to be very interesting to see how far speed, how quick the car's got in that short space of time. Well, it sounds a lot meaner than its predecessor. It leaves the line a lot faster as well. Now we're going to keep in second for turn 1. I found that that's best for keeping the car stable and balanced. Could have gone a bit faster there, but oh well. Bit of oversteer. I've not done that before in any practice runs. Gonna brake a little bit earlier. Since I'm in the play. Awful braking zone for that corner. Put in second for this section as well. Softly through the corner. Back down to second. There's a bump there that really catch you out. Open up that flat 12. Bit of understeer. Thought I was going to go into the wall there, and we're a full 4 seconds faster, and that was a pretty messy run. So in 2 years they found 2 seconds. That's quite insane. But at the same time, Porsche were pumping in so much money into their Le Mans program. And in terms of motorsport, Porsche just dominates sports car history and all the records, really. So that's pretty much unsurprising. Anyway, we're going to jump ahead a bit further in time now. We're going to jump ahead to the 80s to drive what are, I'm going to say, my favourite racing cars of all time. The Porsche 962. Now, I'm not going to tell you how successful this car was. You can go look at Wikipedia for that, because this car, in the hands of both the factory and so many private teams, was just so dominant, so successful in so many different sports car championships. It's quite unreal. It looks amazing, especially in this Rothmans livery. I mean, you can't run it in any other livery, in my opinion. I'm driving the short-tail version, not the Le Mans spec long-tail version, simply because I think for this course you do need the downforce to really get through it in a fast enough time. I also want to say this is my favourite car in sim racing. I love just getting on Assetto Corsa, taking this around any number of tracks, trying to get the most amount of speed out of it. Haven't quite got that 611 yet on the Nordschleifer, but when I do, I'm sure I'll let you all know. Anyway, let's go do our run. And away we go. They really don't like standing starts, these cars. Keeping second for turn 1, much like 917. Then we're going to put up to third. Open it up around down the straight. And maybe second would have been best, but never mind. Try and be gentle on the brake and throttle. Feels very modern in the braking and acceleration. It almost like you're driving a car from the 80s. It's got so much downforce, so much grip. It almost feels easy taking this up the hill climb. What's this time going to be? A 43.6. Now, I'm not really at all surprised that that's almost a full 7 seconds faster than the 917, but man, like I said earlier, you know, I wish this course was a lot longer, because I could honestly just talk about how much I love this car, in both real life and in sim, for days. But we don't have time for that. We have a few more cars to get through. Group C cars are amazing, and I can't get enough of them, so that's why we're driving the Mazda 787B. Now, this car won the 1991 Le Mans 24 Hours, and not much else. It wasn't a very fast car in competition. It basically won because it was so reliable. The rotary engine was very reliable, and in fact, I'm told that for Mazda to get the car running now, as they do at demonstrations and shows, all it ever needs is an oil change, and it still works. It sounds amazing. This rotary engine sounds like a Formula 1 car from 10 years later. So that's always going to get 2 thumbs up from me. Delivery's amazing. It's not the fastest Group C car, but it's probably the coolest. And yeah, I love it. It reminds me of Gran Turismo. Let's go. Slightly more modern interior with the digital dash. Bit slower getting up to third. We'll keep it in second. It's also a bit looser at the rear, so it's not really the best sort of setup car as well. But like I said, you know, it's not the fastest, but it is the coolest. So it sounds the coolest as well. Probably a bit unnecessary to drop down to second there, but we did it anyway. Oh, big understeer moment. Oh, we'll keep going, we'll keep going. And that was 43.7, so we weren't that far off the Porsche, really. But the Porsche we drove was from 1986. This car's from 1991. And it was racing against Sauber C11s, Porsche 962s that were a lot faster. But like I said, this car only really won because everyone else broke down. Not to take any of that away from it. This is an amazing car. Again, you know, I love it. I love taking around the Nordschleifer in courses like this. But unfortunately, we now have to leave Group C behind and move on to the 90s. The overall winner of the 1997 Le Mans 24 Hour, we have the McLaren F1. Not the variant that won in 1997, unfortunately. That was the high downforce, long-tail variant. This is sort of I believe this ran in the GT1 class. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe somebody will correct me. But I want to give it a go anyway. This is a car that came after Group C, after those regs had sort of folded. Now we're still using manual gearbox, so heel and toe. It's got a big old V12 in the back, so it's going to be it's a bit of a handful. It's a lot lighter than the Group C cars, but also has a lot less downforce, so it's very twitchy. I haven't really driven this car a lot in Assetto Corsa. It's stock content, it's available to everyone, and I haven't really driven it a lot, so this is going to be a bit of an experience for me. But yeah, let's give it a go. It's that dead center of the road car, just feels weird. with that BMW V12 behind us. Okay, maybe upshifted when I didn't need to. Car feels very light at the front. I also feel very high up. I don't know if that's coming across in the video. Bit twitchy under braking. This is definitely going to be a downshift. We just don't have the downforce to go through there at any much more speed. Oh yeah, that was quite a nice drive there. 45 seconds. So yeah, we're a lot slower than the Group B cars, Group B, than the Group C cars, sadly. But with time, we will get back up to speed. I'm sure we'll be getting some times that are in the phase, in the high phase. So let's move on to our next car, and it's going to be another Porsche. The winner of the 1998 Le Mans 24 Hours, we have the Porsche 911 GT1 98. Now this is representative of the, I believe it was called the GT LM regulations, which is sort of similar to the hypercar regs we're going to be getting next year. These cars were based on production hypercars. In fact, the GT1, the 911 GT1 road car, and also the Mercedes CLK road car, they fetch for very, very high prices if you ever want to look those up. This is the first car we're driving that isn't sort of 6-gear or 5-gear manual gearbox. We are straight up down sequential, so we can use our nice clunky sequential shifter there. Much else to say really. I'm looking forward to driving. This is another, you know, a car I really love. It reminds me, I think this was in Forza 1, so that's taken me back a few years. Yeah, let's not hang about, let's go take it up the hill climb. This is another car I haven't really driven a lot. I've driven like a few laps around Spa in this thing, but nothing really in anger. So this is going to be a bit of a learning experience. To first, and bouncing off the limiter there. Keep in second. Keep in third, maybe. Just about. A lot more downforce on this car than the McLaren. I'm going to be very interested to see what time we post. Already, this car just feels so fast. I don't think this is going to be the 39 we're looking for. I'm downshifting way too early there. And, are we going to be faster? Just about, just over a second faster than the GTR, than the McLaren F1. Would have been quite embarrassing if we didn't go faster than it. But nonetheless, I mean, this is a very fun car to drive. I love the positivity that comes from using the sequential shifter. That's actually the only time we're going to use the sequential for this in this video for any more cars. So we're done with Porsche now, for now. But we're going to move on to another German manufacturer, and you probably already know who that is. That's right, it's the Audi R8. Now in terms of dominant racing cars in any series, this one is always going to be on top of that list, or at least very close to the top. It won every Le Mans it took part in. It was on the podium for every American Le Mans Series race it took part in. It is, simply put, it's just a dominant machine. I fell in love with this car when I was a wee young lad, and I still love it. I just think it's a car. It's an ageless looking car. It doesn't look like something that's from the early 2000s. The liveries on it are iconic. It's just absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy this car exists in Assetto Corsa in the form of the mods given to us by VRC. You know, again, like some of the earlier cars, some of the cars we've already spoke about, I could gush about this for hours, but we're not going to do that. We're going to see how fast we can get this up the hill. God, I love the sound. It sounds so angry. And bog. Not made for standing starts, these cars. Not at all. Keep it in second. Get it in nice Nice and tight. It is a bit sketchy on the rear, this car, so you've got to watch out for that. Very interested to see what kind of time this can post. Well, that bump will catch you out. I'm not talking because I'm concentrating. .42.6. Like I say, you know, I absolutely love this, the way this car looks, the way it sounds. VRC really knocked it out of the park with this one. This isn't really an LMP1 car yet. This is an LMP 900 car. I don't really know who came up with these naming conventions. There's one more car we can take up the hill. And it's the car that won Le Mans. It's the car that won the one Le Mans that this car didn't take part in. That's right, it's your dad's favourite Le Mans car. It's the Bentley Speed A. Now this is basically an Audi R8 just with a different body shell on it, but you know, don't tell the purists that. This car, it looks absolutely stunning. The mod that VRC have made for this car is sublime. Both the R8 and this car are paid mods, but I would recommend that you go out and buy them if you have a Assetto Corsa for the BC. They are definitely worth your money. Now, being as it is pretty much an R8 with a roof on it, I am interested to see what kind of time it will post in comparison to the R8. It's a little bit sketchier than the R8, but like I said, it's the same car almost. I know it looks a bit different, but under the shell it is effectively the same car. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough, let's get on with it. Okay, that is the worst looking steering wheel I've ever seen in my life. I like how it blocks the LEDs. That simply won't do. We have to use this view, which I'm not really a fan of. I'd rather be a bit higher, but let's not be pedantic. Let's not bog off the line. Okay, already I'm feeling the back end feel very loose. They lost it there, that would not have been good. I would like to do one run first time round. A lot sketchier over the bumps is what I'm finding. Love the way this sounds. Oh, it's a 41.4. Almost 2 seconds faster. Although, to be fair, you know, I did bog off the line in the R8. I feel like if I didn't do that, it would be a lot closer. But we are getting so close to that 38-second time, to the sub 40 times. Now we leave behind the LMP 900 cars, and we move on to LMP1. There's a range of cars coming up that I absolutely love, and I think you will too. The first car of the LMP1 class we're going to be driving today is the Audi R18 Etron, the 2014 car which was the last Audi to win at Le Mans, which makes me feel very, very sad. Audi at Le Mans, it just sounds right to me, and to not have Audi or Porsche at Le Mans, in the WEC, it just doesn't sit right with me. But yeah, so with this new LMP1 category that we're in, that brings hybrid technology, so that's going to factor into how quick we are. The increased aero as well. I think we are about to set some very quick times, and we're going to start off with this Audi. Okay, on the start line then in our Audi. The first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to be doing this with all the hybrid cars that we're about to be driving, I'm going to turn the deployment to hot laps. This is the fastest deployment that we get from the hybrid system. I also have manual deploy, which I'm going to be using sparingly. If I just stick to the hot lap, we won't use all of the hybrid, so I'm going to use the manual deploy quite sparingly there. We have traction control, we have ABS, so hopefully we're going to get some clean laps. We've got a lot of downforce as well. This is F1 levels of downforce. So without further ado, let's go. Just a little bit of hybrid there, just to get us moving. First corner still in second, but keeping third for turn 2. Again, just a little bit of manual deploy there. Keep that in third. Probably could have gone second, and nonetheless, put in fourth. Trust the downforce. That was third. We're going to use all the deployment now to get up the hill. A 38.8. There we go. That is, I believe, a new personal best up the hill. Yeah, 38.8, and this isn't even the fastest LMP1 car, so I'm very excited to see what we can do next. And there was no way I could not drive this car, the Nissan GTR LM, as driven, not very fastly, bear in mind, during the 2015 Le Mans 24-hour. Now, during the actual 24-hour, this car, it was dead on arrival. In testing, however, the car, it was incredible. It was going to be a giant killer had it actually worked at Le Mans as intended. There are more videos out there by the likes of Southpaw Racer and Aidan Millward who go into this car in much greater detail than I certainly can. The basics are it's front-wheel drive, the hybrid drives the rear wheels. It doesn't look it, but because of that, it generates a lot of downforce, but it's also got a lot of understeer. It is front-wheel drive after all. It's front engine as well, if you didn't notice, by the elongated front end. What this car represents to me is the LMP1 regulations were very open to interpretation, and not a lot of manufacturers really took advantage of that. The only ones being Nissan. Before the GTR LM, they ran the Delta Wing, and that didn't go so well either. The missed opportunity that this car represents is staggering. Back in 2015, I was cheering this thing on, and I was gutted when it was a massive failure, but we're going to adjust this now. In a straight line, this thing absolutely murders the competition, but in the corners, being that it's front-wheel drive, we will suffer a little bit. But I've done enough talking. Let's get on with it. I love the sound of this thing. Manual pull all the way up. Back down to second. We haven't done this in a while. This car does only have 5 gears, so you really need to make the most of them. And now open her up down the straight. Oh, I love the Nissan grunt on this thing. Probably could have been faster through there, but honestly, this car felt like it was on rails through that corner. Oh, a little bit of contact there with the wall. Now full deploy all the way up the hill. And we did a 1:38.4. Definitely could have gone faster. This car does have some legs on it, but the front wheel drive does make it a little bit of a handful in the corners. Now, the next car we're moving on to was very successful at Le Mans. You might know what it is. It's the other German manufacturer that was successful during this era of Le Mans. It is the Porsche 919. Much like the Audi R8 from earlier, this car won all but one Le Mans that it took part in, and the one it didn't win was its debut entry in 2014. This car is loved by many, myself included. I actually had the opportunity, I went to the 2016 round of the WEC at Silverstone. Getting to see these cars do what they do with my own eyes is quite staggering. The speed differential these cars have against the GT cars you have to see it to believe it, you really do. This particular car we're driving, the livery, I think it looks amazing. I can't actually remember who won in 2016, so I think I might have to flash it up on the screen. Yeah, I'm going to be quite interested to see if this is faster than the Audi or not, or how comparable the time is. I've spoken enough, let's get on with it. Well, off the line it certainly wins. So much grip in the corners. Manual deploy all the way down. Bit more manual deploy. Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. Manual deploy all the way up. What is this time going to be? A 36.2, and I was hitting walls. That was not a clean lap. I mean, that's a 36.2. Absolutely insane time. That is why this car won all but one Le Mans 24 Hours that it took part in. And the one it lost, it wasn't even this version of the car, so you can't even hold that against it. Now, there is one more car that I want to take up the hill. And if you know sim racing, and if you've watched a few videos like this, I'm going to hazard a guess and say that you know what it is. This is the Porsche 919 Evo. A celebration, if you will, that Porsche made to celebrate, congratulate themselves on their amazing Porsche 919 project. Now this car is the standard Porsche 919. In real life it looks a little bit different, but the mod is physics based. It's no new modelling. It has insane aero. It has almost unlimited hybrid. This is an LMP1 car that is free of the LMP1 shackles. This is a racing car that is designed to break records, and it did. It broke Lewis Hamilton's then lap record at Spa in the hands of Neil Yarny, and then later on it broke the lap record at the Nordschleife, doing it in 5 minutes and 17 seconds. I haven't driven this car a lot. I've done some practice runs, and to be honest, I'm a little bit scared of the amount of power it can displace, but that's all part of the fun. This was an amazing way for Porsche to see out their 919 program, and I think it's going to be a really good way for me to see out this video. Yeah, I've done enough talking, let's get to the track. Okay, because we have unlimited hybrid, my thumb is going to be just stuck to this manual deploy button. Oh, the acceleration on it is just insane. So is the grip through corners. That's absolutely insane. I need to brake into low gears, but because you're at such high speed, you kind of forget to. What's the time going to be? Oh, a 33.7. That required a lot of concentration, as you can imagine. But I'm sure that in much more capable hands than mine, this could do easily sub 29. In fact, I think if I did some downforce, some setup changes, remove some downforce, lower the ride height, that sort of thing, I think I could hit a sub 20 lap, but we're not going to be doing that tonight. The whole point of this video wasn't to spend ages tweaking setups and trying to get the fastest time possible. This was just show off these cars. I think there are Le Mans prototypes in their various forms are some of the best racing cars of all time, and it should be celebrated how they've evolved and progressed along the years. And I'm really excited for hypercar coming next year. Loads more manufacturers coming in, and more importantly privateers and not just large car manufacturers. Anyway guys, we've reached the end of the video. I would love it. I would like it very much if you could like and subscribe and help me grow the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subscribers by Christmas. It might not happen, but that's my goal. And all that's left to say is I will see you in the next one.